So I don't think it's any secret on this channel at all that I have not been a fan of the Adelaide Crows rebuild, and I think that I am legitimately not the only one. Like, you could legitimately just go on any Adelaide fan page of their Instagram, and it's basically just people reminiscing about the good old days of 2017 before, of course, Richmond decided to do what they did, and then a lot of people just complaining about Matthew Nicks and the last couple of drafts that they've had that have not exactly been too successful, especially those from like 2019 or I think like 2021. But in saying all of that, I have also been public on this channel to say that I thought the Adelaide Crows had one of the best off seasons out of everyone in 2024. I thought they did exactly what they needed to do and bring in a bunch of role players, but good role players that they were able to get in for cheap. Like, first of all, they traded for Alex Neil-Bullen, and all they gave up was a second round pick that actually was the pick that they got for Shane McAdam, that, you know, Melbourne, of course, when they made that trade. So essentially they swapped Shane McAdam for Alex Neil-Bullen, which is one of the craziest, I think, pranks of all time by the Adelaide Crows there, because Neil-Bullen is one of the most underrated players, I think, in the game, who, again, proved he could play not only as an elite small forward for Melbourne in their flag years, but as a good spark in play midfielder over the last couple. And all they did was give up, you know, basically Shane McAdam for him. Again, they've done a couple other really good things here and there as well, like Isaac Cumming. They, of course, brought in James Peatling as well, etc., etc. And for the most part, in the last couple of years, their drafting hasn't been that bad. You expect Daniel Curtin to become a good player. You expect Josh Rochelle to eventually mature up enough where he can be a really good, consistent footballer in the league one day. And then again, they, of course, traded a top pick for Isaac Rankin, who was extremely young when they brought him in. So you can basically count that as well. So a lot of great things for the Adelaide Crows, and I'm not going to lie, I think it only gets legitimately more positive here, because we've got some really good news to talk about here on the channel today that actually has to do with their 2024 draft and who they could, of course, be selecting in that. So, again, there's a big report saying that Jagger Smith could be heading to the Crows. The Crows are rumored to move up the draft order and overlook homegrown talent Sid Draper. Again, there is this report going around that we're about to talk about that the Adelaide Crows could be moving up from 4 to 2. I don't necessarily know if it's going to happen, but it's going to be interesting to talk about it. End of the day, though, is whether they move up or not, I think they're a massive chance to get Jagger Smith with this pick. It does say the Crows are believed to have their eyes on a move to pick number 2 to take Jagger Smith. North knocked back Adelaide's offer of a pick 4 plus 2 future thirds for second, so the Crows may need to give up a future second to get it done. Sid Draper is firming to Carlton at pick number 3. Now, if this was me, if I was the Adelaide Crows, I am staying at 4. I know pick 3 is looking like it's going to be Sid Draper now. Again, I spoke about this on the channel as well. If you guys haven't gone and checked that out, I highly recommend it. It's the video where I talk about how Carlton are going to be taking Sid Draper, it looks like, with pick 3. But at the end of the day, yes, it sucks that you're losing the best South Australian talent in the draft and a guy who would very much help out your team right now. But I don't think you need to trade up to pick number 2 to get Sid Draper, or more importantly, get Jagger Smith. Again, if you don't trade up to 2, you're not going to get Sid Draper, right? But I don't think they need to get Sid Draper, is what I'm trying to say here. Because if the draft goes how we think it's going to, then we know that Richmond are going to take Sam Lawler at 1. North are either going to take Finn O'Sullivan or Alex Taru at 2. Most likely Finn O'Sullivan, but who knows? And pick 3 will be Sid Draper. Meaning that at pick 4, you've got by far the best ball winner in the draft, just sitting there, ready to go to your team. Again, the guy who is most compared to Zach Butters that we have seen since Zach Butters has gotten selected. And of course, a guy who is compared to a bit of Nick Dacos as well. He's a very silky, skinny, fast-paced midfielder who just gets bulk disposals. Again, don't be fooled by his skinny stature and size. This man will rack up 50 disposals in any given game for your team in the under 18s. And I wouldn't be surprised if he goes over to Adelaide and does like half of that, which is still pretty goddamn good if you ask me. So with a team that has had big disposal winners in previous years like Brad Crouch, Matt Crouch, Rory Sloane, and Rory Laird, legitimately all like going out the door at this point or moving on to the very, very latter parts of their career where they are no longer as relevant, I think you need a big disposal winner in that midfield, and I think Jagger Smith would be the perfect player to, of course, go in and do that, because you have the pieces right there, right? In that midfield, you've got the pace now in players like Rankin and Rochelle, who occasionally go in there when they're not playing as a forward. You've got the wings now, like an Isaac Cumming and James Peatling, who can also go into that, you know, centre midfield as well. And then you've got some big bodies in there, like a Jordan Dawson. But again, the big disposal winner, I think, is missing in the Adelaide Crows. They will still have Laird and Crouch for next season. I'm assuming Laird still gets a game most weeks. But the thing is, other than him, you need a big disposal winner. And other than him, I don't know if you can necessarily rely on Rory Laird to be that big disposal winner for your team. So again, as mentioned earlier, they've got a ton of, you know, plug and play type of players who can come into that midfield, like a Neil Bullen as well, who I haven't even mentioned. Neil Bullen, Rankin, Rochelle, and now James Peatling. But you don't necessarily have as many natural midfielders in there that you would probably like. And I think Jagger Smith is by far nearly the most natural midfielder in this whole entire draft. The most natural ball winner. One of the best disposal users. Again, there's still definitely players in front of him like Finn O'Sullivan, I'm assuming, which a lot of people believe, and Sid Draper especially. But I think there is a much better ball use growing in that Adelaide midfield, especially by adding Alex Neil-Bullen to that team. You are increasing the ball use by so much, but I think you do need to go in there and get a solid ball-winning midfielder. Now, again, would Sid Draper be nice? Yes, he would be. But I think if you trade up to pick 2 to get Sid Draper, who might not even be better than, you know, Jagger Smith, it's a risky move. Again, if, you know, you might be sitting there thinking, how is he not better if he's going to be going to a higher pick, most likely to Carlton, than what Jagger Smith would be at, like 4 to Adelaide. But the thing is, the reason Carlton would be going over Draper over Smith is they just need a really elite ball user, which Sid Draper is. They don't need a big disposal getter, which is what Jagger Smith is. They need the ball user, and that's why Carlton would be going for Draper. But again, a lot of people would argue that Jagger Smith is a better player than what Sid Draper is. He just doesn't fit the need of what Carlton has. So again, Adelaide could be doing really well here. I think it's a waste of a second round pick really to trade up. But if they think Sid Draper's their man, then go for it. If they don't think Jagger Smith is in it for the long haul, then go for Sid Draper. But I mean, if they think Jagger Smith is going to be a player who plays for them for, you know, 10 to 15 years, then why would you not pull the trigger on just getting Jagger Smith at pick 4? So I really don't know what they're going to do here. We're definitely going to have to see how this, of course, does unfold. Again, if you haven't already, please make sure to leave a like and subscribe to the channel for all latest AFL content, AFL news, sports content in general. Don't forget to subscribe to my gaming channels, MLIRL/vlogging channels as well, which will be getting linked down below. But of course, most importantly, ladies and gentlemen, tell me what you guys think about Jagger Smith potentially going to the Adelaide Crows at pick 4. Again, I'd very much like to know. But yeah, leave a like, subscribe, and comment, and I'll see you guys next time. Goodbye.